Hi there, Nate Urandi, Orion Training Systems. I'm going to apologize now for any background noise you might hear, as well as any coughing I might be doing. Just got done with a super hard ride with a fantastic group of guys here in Boulder. Some of them are ex-pro cyclists, others are ex-competitors who just ride for the sheer pleasure of it. One of the guys on the ride, Matt Cook, is actually an ex-pro, always rode clean, still managed to win some races, but never crossed that line. I've had some pretty open and honest and transparent discussions with him. Somebody I really admire. What I probably admire most about him is that he's got some friends, some people that he considers very close friends who did dope, and he doesn't apologize for them, but he is able to separate the friendship from that moral boundary that he was able to draw that others, clearly didn't. I don't know if I could do that. I really don't. So I admire him for that. In any case, a few topics that kind of spurred the thought process for today. It's funny, Matt Rendell, who is a journalist of some repute, deleted his Twitter account today. And I'm being given the credit for making that happen. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because it wasn't my intention. But what I did was I called him out on some blatant hypocrisy. So Matt wrote a piece vociferously defending Lance Armstrong back in the early 2000s, and basically saying, it's the team structure, it's the commitment, it's the coming back from cancer, it's the hard work, and all this stuff that has propelled him to the top of cycling, not doping, which obviously we know now is completely false. Yet he's taken the same stance over the years with other riders that have proven to then become dopers or be dopers in retrospect, and now he's taking the same stance with Froome. And so I called him on it. And rather than, have a debate and actually understand that, things haven't changed, he chooses to delete his Twitter account after trying to engage and then realizing that his position is untenable. And it just reminded me of some blocking that's going on. Like, I don't care what people say about me. I don't care if they insult me or whatever. I'm not going to block you. That's your opinion. I don't know you, so why am I going to take it to heart and let you ruin my day? But, people like Froome have blocked me, but who hasn't Michelle Froome blocked for Chris? Phil Gaiman is another one. So it's kind of funny with Gaiman because he will be the ultimate apologist for his friends who are dopers. Tom Danielson, Levi Leipheimer, Zabriskie, Hincapie, you name it. And I listened to this podcast a few months back that Gaiman did, and he, had a heart-to-heart, asked the tough questions of Danielson. Well, the tough questions amounted to, like, did you dope? Why'd you do it? How did it make you feel? Softballs. And it was more like, let Danielson purge his soul. So I called him on it. I was like, how can you be this hypocritical? You vilify European pros that dope, but your friends, you give them a hall pass. And instead of, explaining his stance, he instead says, fuck you, and then blocks me. Okay. So I actually feel like that's a badge of honor, quite frankly. It's like, I call it like I see it. And I'm not always right. And I'm not perfect. But when the responses I get are insults, blocks, or the always awesome, where's your proof? Because if you don't have proof, then shut the hell up. To me, this indicates that I'm on the right path. If I'm wrong, correct me. I'll admit the mistake and move on, and I'll have learned something. But that hasn't happened yet, and that doesn't mean I'm always right. But rather than correct me, people take these other approaches, which are ineffective and actually torpedo their own stances. You know, and as far as the where's your proof stance, we already know that's complete bullshit. You know, it's already widely accepted that the majority of elite level athletes dope. So that means that if there's a roughly 1 point something percent catch rate, how many of them are getting away with it for whatever reasons? People talk about, underground betting. They talk about, the governing bodies burying positive tests. You name it. There's a slew of reasons. Some are real, some are conspiracy theories, but it doesn't matter. The point is that the vast majority of athletes who are doping will never, ever, ever get caught. So if you ask me to provide proof, I don't have any proof. It's not like I camp out in one of these athletes' homes and, take a DNA sample when they're sleeping. I mean, it's a silly, nonsensical stance to take, because the proof is in the patterns. So you look at cycling and you look at the watts per kilogram that are now just as high as they were when EPO was running rampant. It is not because clean cyclists are doing it better, or that the cyclists from the EPO era, doped to race. It's escaping me who said that, but Kerrison of Sky, Lance Armstrong doped to race. What a nonsensical, foolish stance to actually go on record saying. So it's not that they're training better than they used to. It's not that it's more scientific. It's not technology. It is a more innovative way to dope to skirt the system. Because at least now there's the veil of controls in place, whereas back then there really weren't. It was like, here's your threshold. Make sure you bump up against it, but don't exceed it, because then we're going to have to make you sit out for a couple weeks. Running, stark drop in elite level times of the winning times and the podiums for various races. But when you get into the top 10 to the top 20 and beyond, the drop in times is nowhere near as stark. That's not just because those hitting the podium want it more. It's because they are the ones that have greater access to better doping practices and teams. They are the ones who are in effect shielded from positive tests. So when you see a curve like this in terms of winning times over the years dropping versus a curve that's more like this for the top 10, top 20 and beyond, that doesn't compute. Rugby players, the size of NFL linebackers, yet they're running around like soccer players. Enough said there. Soccer, tennis, you name it, it's happening. It is not just cycling. It is not just marathon runners. It is not just cross-country skiers. So, there wasn't necessarily a point, like a conclusion to today's rant, but there was just like a perfect storm of things that happened in the last couple of days that just coalesced, and I thought I'd share them, hopefully in a coherent way. And hopefully you can hear this again. The ride today was really tough, and so I've got these Air Relax boots on that are very much like Normatex, only a fraction of the cost, and they work wonders. If you are thinking about purchasing them, they were like $350, and I use them every single day, and I can absolutely feel a difference. So give them a shot if you're thinking about it. Other than that, obviously leave your comments, there we go, below, or wherever you might find this. And as always, happy training.